All right, let's take you live now to our reporter Kim Daniel, who joins us live from the N2, still monitoring, of course, developments around the containment of that raging blaze out in Humansdorp. So, Kim, good to have you with us once again. So I understand that, of course, news just in that the weather services has since issued a red fire warning in that particular area. Talk to us about that. Good afternoon once again.
Weather Service just released maybe about 30-40 minutes ago. They released a statement saying that because of the dry conditions, because of the windy conditions, several parts of the Eastern Cape are susceptible to high fires, therefore issuing that red felt fire warning. These areas would include obviously the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro being Kouga, the Kouga Municipality, here where we're standing. I mean, you can see for yourself right in front of you how these fires are still going. I'm not sure if my camera colleague BC can show you. The firefighters are here. They are busy planning on how they're going to fight this fire. I mean, they've been working tirelessly around the clock. I met a fireman earlier today who said he was currently working his second 24-hour shift trying to fight these fires. So it has been quite exhausting for them, but they are working tirelessly, to get these fires combated and to stop this. Because remember, we spoke to the mayor earlier this morning, and he said their main aim is to get these fires extinguished before tonight, because tonight the wind direction is going to change and tonight the winds will pick up again. They've been very, very fortunate. Today the wind hasn't been that strong, but it has been sporadic. So it can be calm now and then a few seconds later it can just spur up again. So the situation is very unpredictable. We were standing here just before studio called for this crossing and there was no fire next to me. All of a sudden when I was latched, this fire started. So I mean the situation is very unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. We do understand, however, that there will be a prayer tonight for these fires and for rain at one of the community halls in Jeffreys Bay. I know my colleague, Mr. Lububalo Dada, will be attending that, and I'm sure the community will rally together, because we've seen, especially in this time of strife and of heartbreak, especially with those who have lost their homes or some infrastructure, the community really has tied together to help, combat these fires. I hear a voice down here. I'm not sure we can see it. However, I know one of these firefighters are in this fire right now, trying to combat it. As you know, we are on the N2, the road that is closed between Jeffreys Bay and Humansdorp. And I mean, these firemen and firewomen have been working around the clock trying to calm these fires and trying to bring some sense of normalcy back into the area of Kouga.
I mean, Kim, talk to us about the latest reports now. Any reports in terms of injuries or fatalities? Thankfully, earlier there hadn't been any such reports.
Yeah, we've been very lucky in the sense where there have been no fatalities and no injuries. We can confirm that on the Krom River, that's closer to the St. Francis Bay side, some farms were damaged there. Even the farm that we were on a few hours ago in Kabeljous, the Mule farm, 90% of their farm has been burnt, and that's the grazing area where their cows do graze, do eat, because as we understand, that farm is a commercial stud farm, so they buy and sell cows, they breed cows, and without them having this grazing land and having this area to graze, it can be detrimental, to that family. But so far, according to the mayor, when we spoke to him earlier, there have been no fatalities, no major damages to infrastructure and to residents, especially in the town area. But one substantial thing that has happened is the fires have damaged major power lines that affect the flow of electricity into all of these towns within the Kouga Municipality, and as well some reservoirs like the Mpofu Dam and the Churchill Dam, who don't only supply here to the Kouga area, that being Jeffreys Bay, Humansdorp, St. Francis Bay, but also in Kouga, down in the Nelson Mandela Bay area. Some areas are without water. I know some areas here within the Kouga area have been restored in terms of electricity. They're back online. But Eskom did say last night that they won't come in until the area is deemed safe. So until these fires are extinguished, Eskom won't come and repair these power lines.
Absolutely, Kim. Speaking to the mayor also earlier on in our previous hour, confirming that in fact some parts of the region have started receiving back their electricity. So talk to us also. I spoke to him about the wildlife there, and he assured us that some of them was actually being released. There were actually the teams were actually cutting some of the wires to release some of the wildlife that remained trapped behind them. Talk to us about that. I mean, how are they now going to ensure that they go back to their regular enclosures?
Yeah, no, it is quite difficult. Like I said, on the farm we were earlier, we saw the farm owner gather up his cattle and gather up the wildlife that they did have, the horses, the mules, and try to put them in a place of safety. But I mean, it is difficult because they've opened up all their gates, they've opened up their borders so that if animals find themselves stuck, they can find a way to escape the heat and to escape the fire. It is a very, very sad thing, but it comes down to how these people can manage or set to manage the fires and how they are able, you know, to look after their land, to look after their livestock, to look after their families, their children, their parents. So, I mean, it is a very stressful time. A lot of these residents are in panic, especially those whose farms and whose lands have been affected. But as I said, everyone pulling their weight, doing what they can. Thus, the specific firemen and women that are here are from working on fire. They've come all the way from Mossel Bay to give some relief to this area before the fires do get out of hand and cause substantial damage, before we lose lives, before we lose houses, businesses, and that kind of thing. So the Kouga Municipality looking to calm these fires, to extinguish these fires before tonight. Time is running out because if I look at my phone now, it is 4:10. You can see this flame coming up right towards the camera. It's very, very warm when we're standing, and you can see the smoke is, and there we go. There, the tree is burning. The wind just picked up, bringing that flame up, and the tree set alight.
Kim, I mean, I can see there's quite low visibility within the area. I mean, how are the firefighters managing to continue with their work if, of course, the wind is going to be such a hindrance?
Yeah, I mean, it is very, very difficult, but I know these men and women, I've obviously been trained for this in high volatile situations where there's low visibility, where there's high heat. They carry all this heavy gear. And I mean, as I mentioned, these firemen and women have been working tirelessly around the clock. Some that I spoke to this morning on their second 24-hour shift. So they've been working non-stop for one entire day. And I mean, it's not light office work, it's hard work carrying water. And you can see this fireman is going in now with a hose to try and combat this fire. They work tirelessly around the clock, you know, carrying heavy equipment, going into areas where oxygen is very low. Here where I'm standing right now, the smoke is quite thick. It is quite hard to breathe. So I can't even imagine what it's like down there where the firefighters are going into right now.
Kim, let's talk about, of course, I know that official investigations are still continuing. I still, of course, extended this question to the mayor as well to ask what could have been the actual cause as well as origin of this fire. What are the firefighters and rescuers on the scene saying about the possibility of this?
Because it's been very, very dry in this area, the Kouga Municipality is currently going through a drought. So the ground is very dry. There is very little water. And because of the wind, all these factors play a role in creating these fires and allowing these fires to thrive, you know, jumping from one area to another as the winds change direction. The direction of the fire changes. The municipality right now is very lucky in that the fires are away from the town, away from residential areas, and mostly away from human life or where, you know, people and animals specifically could get hurt.
Right, Kim, we're going to leave it there for this particular moment. And of course, we're going to continue monitoring developments there with SABC News reporter Kim Daniels joining us on the N2 there with the very latest in those fire updates. And as you can see, the wind also picking up there at that particular area, leading to some more flare-ups.